Which of the following situations best illustrates a potential horizontal merger between companies X and Y? Company X and company Y, they are competitors in the same industry. This is correct because when two firms are in the same business, in the same industry, when they merge, it is called horizontal merger. So this is the correct option. Look no further, but let us discuss the other options also. Company X supplies raw material to production process for company Y. So if Y takes over X, this is called vertical backwards. And if X takes over Y, his own customer, this is called vertical forward, right? Okay, what about C? X is a textile manufacturer, whereas company Y operates as a wholesaler for company X product. Now, in this case, since what you are as a supplier provide your output to Y, and when X takes Y, this will be vertical forward. It could be vertical backward, it could be diagonal combination depending on the extent of the relationship between these two companies. So this is not correct as well. What about D? Company X operates in the financial services industry, whereas company Y operates in the scientific research and development industry. Two totally different industries. This situation represents a circular combination as the two companies appear to be in a relatively unrelated industry. Sometimes it is also called the conglomerate diversification, but that's the term you don't normally use in CPA context, so you will call it as the circular combination. So A is the correct option. Combination is called as a horizontal merger when two firms are in the same industry and the same level of production. Prior to the close of the current year, Fireplace International, 800 million of net assets, and General Heating, 760 million at net assets, combined to form Heating Products Company. Under the terms of the transaction, the common stock of each former company has eliminated and replaced with a common stock of the newly formed company. This transaction would be classified as, we have already read, if two firms combine and both of them are gone, a new firm is formed. This is called merger. So this makes C to be the correct option. If one of the company acquires another and both exist in the parent and subsidiary arrangement, this is called acquisition, right? So this is not it, and there is no tender offer. Tender offer is normally prevalent when there is an acquisition, so we don't see any acquisition. So C is the right option. What about stock combination? Stock combination is incorrect because although we are issuing new stock of this heating products company, but we are not combining these two firms and the existing stocks are cancelled. Fireplace International and General Heating Company, their existing stocks are cancelled, new stocks are issued in the new firm. So this is basically not the stock combination. And in fact, there is no such term as stock combination, so it's just a distractor. Recently, it was announced that FC Cola Company was pursuing a merger with Lemon Lime Soda Company. The proposed merger, clearly is horizontal apparently, the proposed merger is expected to result in 60 million of annual cost savings for the combined soda company and will provide additional market opportunities for each existing company. Assuming that the merger is consummated, the merger takes place, it should be classified as which of the following types of business combination? Yes, it is a horizontal combination. You should look no further, but let us discuss each of these options to fully understand what they exactly are. Circle combination will basically a combination of two unrelated businesses. Vertical combination is when one of the firm buys out its own customer, it's called vertical forward, or when one firm purchases or buys out its own supplier, this is called vertical backward. So this is not the situation here. What about the diagonal combination? A diagonal business combination is the one when two companies that provide support services combine to make them one company. For example, if one company is a manufacturer and one provide repair services, then they would merge so that both companies would be self-sufficient on a combined basis. This is called the diagonal combination, and this is not the case here in this specific question. On January 1st, Giant Enterprises Incorporated divested one of its top performing business segment, Energy Performance Products, via an initial public offering. You just cut a part of the business and issued share in that segment via an IPO. Look no further. This is an equity carve-out. But let's read the remaining portion. The new public company is named High-End Performance Company, with Giant receiving $550 million in cash from the IPO in exchange for a 40% interest in this business. If Giant maintains the remaining 60% of the new company and control over the board of directors, the transaction would be considered as an equity carve-out, and I've explained why is it so. What about spin-off? What is a spin-off? A spin-off basically creates a new company and it results in a full separation from its parent company, but here we see 60% control is still held by the main parent company. So that's why it's not spin-off. What about B, tender offer? A tender offer occurs when a company makes an offer to the shareholders of another company it wants to purchase. Let's say A wants to purchase B. A offers a certain price for the shares of B to the shareholders of B because A wants to acquire B. The price they will offer is called the tender offer. So this is not the case here. What about sell-off? A sell-off is a straightforward sale of a company to another business. This is not it. We are still holding 60% stake in the new equity-based firm that we have issued through a new IPO. Digital Controls Corporation, DCC, is seeking to expand its market share in the aviation electronics industry. DCC wants to gain a controlling interest of Jet Components Company and contacts the shareholders directly through an offer to buy their outstanding shares at 37.5 per share, whereas the current market price is 32. So basically they are offering a higher price, 5.5. That's called sweetening the deal. You're offering more price than the currently prevailing market price. Which of the following methods best describes DCC's attempt to gain control over Jet Component? It is called tender offer. When you contact the shareholders of the target company directly and offer them certain price, normally at a premium, like in this case 5.5 is the premium, this is called tender offer. What about A, acquisition? Even we are trying to buy partially or fully Jet Components, so this might result in an acquisition subsequently, but right now they have offered a certain price. This is called tender offer, so it's not right away an acquisition. What about block trading? Block trading is used as a mechanism to sell a major ownership share of a stock position to another company. Like let's say if I am a shareholder in Jet Components and I hold 20% holding in Jet Components, I sell this block to Digital Controls Corporation. This selling of the single bunch of shares, the single block of shares, called block trading, right? So this is not the case right here. And horizontal merger, we already know, when both companies are in the same industry, when such firms combine, this is called horizontal merger. And this apparently doesn't look to be the case here. Gerard Incorporated is a leader in the home health services industry with operations primarily in the western United States. Gerard owns 100% of Brighton Greens, fully owned subsidiary, a company that operates nursing care facilities in the same region. Wanting to devote all of its corporate resources to home health care and hoping to generate cash, Gerard should look to divest its operations under which of the following mechanism? It is going to be a sell-off. When you dissociate a particular segment or a section completely, this is called sell-off. So sell-off would allow Gerard to raise cash while separating itself from Brighton Green so that it can focus on its core businesses. So this is true. What about spin-off? Spin-off may not necessarily result in cash for the Gerard. It's just you dissociate yourself from a subsidiary, so it doesn't require selling of the shares. And tender offer is a form of business combination, not a divestiture. And then equity carve-out, we have just discussed it previously. An equity carve-out would allow Gerard to generate cash for the company through the sale of Brighton stock But equity carve-out normally is used when the parent wants to retain control, just like in the previous question. So here we are just want to get rid of this company, so equity carve-out won't help. Always Fresh company produces fruits and vegetables from hundreds of farms throughout the United States. The company sells its products directly to the local retailers, but weekly produce contracts are not guaranteed, and retailers have recently demanded price concessions which have negatively impacted margins. In the event the company management pursues a business combination, which type would be most optimal? Always Fresh can combine with some national grocery chain store. This way, Always Fresh can provide a stable market for its produce sold. This type of vertical combination will also eliminate these demands for concessions. It will result in more profit stability. So this is the right option. Vertical integration with a firm that sells grocery on the national scale will resolve the problem. During a technical planning meeting, a company management discussed the performance of each of its business segments. Management concluded that its recreational vehicle segment was underperforming and lacked the core competencies to align with the company's 3 other business segments. We just want to get rid of this segment. Sell off. Which strategy should the company pursue if the management concluded that the divestiture of recreational vehicle segment would improve its stock price? Kick this out. It's a sell-off. Equity carve-out is wrong. We don't want to retain control. Spin-off, we'll still retain the control, maybe the whole of the company. Asset liquidation is not recommended because it might result in forced sale and you might receive less cash than you will do under the sell-off. 2 junior financial analysts at Greenfield Manufacturing Company meet for lunch to discuss their recent assignment pertaining to analyzing potential business segment divestitures. During their discussion, the following statements are made by the analysts. Which of the above statements made by the financial analyst is false? The type of divestiture can result in either a full or partial divestiture of a business segment. This is a true statement. There could be a partial or a complete divestiture. Statement 2. A straight sell-off of the business segment results in obtaining cash without any future interest in that segment. Complete getting rid of that segment. That is true as well. True as well. What about statement 3? Completing an equity carve-out requires an IPO with the parent company maintaining the minority interest stake. This is wrong. Majority. We just did a question where the parent held 60% share in the newly formed entity, the shares of which were issued through an IPO. So it's a majority interest, not minority. This word makes this statement false. What about option or statement 4? A spin-off typically involves creating a new company where existing shareholders receive stock in the new company in exchange for their shares in the parent company. You still hold 100% control. This is true as well. The only statement that is false is statement 3. Scales Company, a fresh fish retailer, is pursuing a merger with Great Lakes Transport Incorporated. The rationale is that the Scales has incurred rising costs relating to shipments of its daily fresh fish purchase, and by acquiring Great Lakes, shipping cost would be materially reduced. Once the merger is completed, it would be classified as what we just discussed when there is a diagonal combination. A diagonal combination is the one where 2 companies that provide support services combine to make them one company. Here, fish retailer requires transportation, Great Lakes Transport provides transport. So when they serve each other, why not just combine these 2? It's called diagonal. It's called diagonal combination. I gave an example a couple of minutes ago. If one company is a manufacturer and one provides repair service, then we can combine these 2 so that both companies would be self-sufficient on combined basis. So here when we merge these, both of them will be self-sufficient. Fish farms or fish retailer will have no issue of transportation, and Great Lakes Transportation will have no issue of its use of fleet both will benefit. So that makes B to be the correct option. Specialty Design Company is considering divesting its figurine and holiday ornament segments given its ongoing capital requirements and perceived lack of sufficient creativity in this business. The segment has been profitable over the past 3 years, but sales and operating margins have incrementally declined. Sales has fallen, operating margins have fallen. What is the best course of action for the management to take given these specific circumstances? Sell off the segment. Apparently this looks nice. Although sell off is a possible course of action by the management, a spin-off is a better course of action. The segment has been profitable over the past 3 years. So something went wrong that requires fresh minds. So this business should be separated, formed a new entity, and then some responsible individuals, professionally competent people, should be allowed to manage this business in a more efficient and effective manner. So this is the right option. We should go for D. Sell off is not recommended. Maintaining is again not worth it because sales are falling, operating margins are falling, so you need to do something. And complete an equity carve out, that could work. You could just sell some part of this entity to new shareholders, but apparently it's just the problem that we see is maybe perhaps it's not being managed efficiently. So we can just make it a separate entity and give the control to some competent professionals who will run the business on a more professional or efficient basis. Felix Supplies Incorporated is looking to expand its cat and dog food business in the upcoming year. After performing significant due diligence, Felix identifies another company that would fulfill its strategic objective, but it's much larger and has various other lines of business which we don't want. So just buy what you want. Which strategy would Felix management pursue? Not acquisition. It has many lines. For this we don't have the expertise. We don't want to buy the firm as a whole. We don't want to merge, just purchase some assets that are relevant to you. B, the best option. Mindy's Restaurants Incorporated, an international casual dining business, completed a circular combination of Euro Property Management Company at year-end. Mindy's currently uses a variety of independent property management companies in the US and in Europe. All of the following would represent valid reasons for this type of combination, the circular combination, with the exception of improves restaurant current locations and sales. This is true because remember, you are a restaurant and you are purchasing a company that involves property. So it is not a horizontal merger. It will not result in any improvement on economies of scale. Centralizes European property management, true. Reduces operating costs, true. But this is not true. Economies of scales is achieved when we expand our business operation in the current businesses. So there are different types of economies of scale. Let me explain all of these right here. There is what you call the purchasing economies of scale. Purchasing economies of scale means when a business becomes larger, it will purchase in bulk quantities. So bulk quantities will result in discounts. So your purchase cost goes down and this reduces your average cost. So this is called the purchases or the purchasing economies of scale first. Second, a large business can hire competent professionals, even highly paid, and these professionals will run the business more efficiently and effectively. This is called the managerial economies of scale. This will lower your average cost also. A larger business can secure funding at lower cost of capital. This is called the financial economies of scale. Your average cost will fall. You'll be more profitable. Then there is risk-bearing economies of scale. Being larger, you can take on many risks. Then you will have more funds available which you can use to purchase latest technology. So this technology can lower your cost of production. So this is called the technological economies of scale or technical economies of scale, right? So these are few which you should remember. They will help you somewhere.